Have you ever felt like you're just catching glimpses of moments or emotions maybe, but without really getting the full picture?
Like you're seeing fragments of something bigger. Yeah, that feeling.
Exactly. It's kind of intriguing, and it's precisely what we're diving into today. We're exploring the Fragments of Lux.
Ah, the first book in the Codex of Shadows series?
That's the one. And it's not your typical narrative, is it? It gives this really unique perspective on human experience.
It really does. At its core, you have Lux, this consciousness that's, well, fragmented, almost like drifting pieces of awareness.
And it flows through these incredibly intense human moments experienced by different people.
Right. So our goal today isn't just to, summarize the plot.
No, not at all. We want to explore how the author uses this idea, Lux, to shed light on some really universal human feelings, but in a new way.
We'll look at some key chapters, follow Lux's journey a bit.
Yeah, to give you a real taste of the book's style and its deeper themes.
So we're kind of following these slivers of consciousness as they bump into these big human situations. It gives us, and you listening, a different angle on our shared emotional world.
And maybe tempts you to check out the full story for yourself.
Hopefully.
Okay, let's start at the beginning. Chapter 1. The breakfast argument. You're dropped right into this tense domestic scene.
But it's all blurry, isn't it? Like indistinct figures, snippets of words told you, that kind of thing.
Exactly. And the author uses these sensory details so effectively. That pale light, the shapes shifting,
Yeah.
and oh, that loud ticking clock.
Yes, the clock, the clattering fork. These small sounds become huge. It's almost like because Lux can't get the whole picture, these fragments become hyper-focused.
Like the frustration, the sadness, the anger, you feel them, but you don't get the whole backstory.
Yeah.
Just about you never listening.
Right. It makes you think, doesn't it? Maybe our own understanding is just fragments layered with our assumptions.
That's a great point. Lux can't piece it together, and maybe that broken view is more revealing somehow.
Hmm. Have you ever been in that situation? Like you walk in on the tail end of an argument, catch a few words, a look.
And your mind just fills in the blanks, right? Maybe getting it totally wrong.
Precisely. The book uses Lux to kind of show us that process, how subjective it all is, what we miss when we only see parts.
Okay, so then chapter 2, the decision. Big shift here.
Yeah, suddenly we're in this vague, misty place between places. Indistinct figures again, but also this memory of light, like a star.
And the feeling is just pure indecision, being stuck.
Totally. That whispered, "Should I?" The rain that seems like it's hanging in the air, not falling, the flickering light, it all just screams limbo.
And that image, the trembling hand holding a phone with an unsent message. So relatable.
It really is. But what's fascinating here is how Lux's own feelings, or lack thereof, seem to merge with the man's.
Right. The lines get blurry. You can't tell whose indecision is whose.
It makes you wonder about empathy, doesn't it? Is feeling a fragment of someone's emotion a more direct connection than, say, rationally understanding their problem?
Like bypassing the intellect and going straight for the feeling.
Maybe. It suggests this sort of underlying connection. Think about those times you've been really torn over a choice, almost paralyzed by it. Maybe that's a taste of what Lux experiences here.
The feeling of being overwhelmed, yeah. Okay, moving to chapter 3, the child's fear. This one is powerful.
Oh, yeah. The atmosphere is just thick with it. Darkness, the sound of shallow breathing, the room feeling like it's closing in.
It taps right into that primal childhood terror. The author uses details like the wide, unseeing eyes, a noise from the corner.
The blanket pulled up high, we've all done that.
Totally. And Lux experiences the intensity of it, the tangled thoughts, the feeling of being watched, not knowing what's real.
It reminds you how overwhelming fear can be, especially when it's formless,
Yeah.
the fear of the unknown in the dark.
It really does take you back, that feeling that anything could be lurking just out of sight.
And Lux absorbs this raw, unfiltered emotion, something we, as adults, often try to rationalize away.
Then chapter 4, the lover's quarrel. We shift to adult relationships, but it's fraught.
Yeah, there's this coldness despite them being in the same room, overlapping voices, sharp words like you never just left hanging.
You feel the tension, the mix of like longing and regret under the anger.
Exactly. It captures that awful feeling of being worlds apart from someone right next to you. That's such a painful part of relationships sometimes.
Locked eyes, but not really seeing each other. A touch that doesn't connect. Love buried under all the hurt.
It speaks volumes about how fragile connection can be. Anyone who's navigated a long-term relationship will likely recognize that feeling, those unspoken things that build up.
Being physically close but emotionally miles away.
Yeah. And Lux is just there, observing this complex dance without judgment, just taking in the raw feeling.
Okay, let's shift gears again. Chapter 5. The Old Man's Reflection. More serene, but with a touch of melancholy.
Definitely. A park setting, crisp air,
Yeah.
sunlight, the slow steps of the old man immediately signal reflection, looking back.
You get the sense of the weight of a life lived, that bittersweet quality of memory.
Mm-hmm. The book mentions these fragments, a laugh, a tear, a distant voice, like snapshots of a whole life. There's a peace there, maybe, but also that hint of sadness for what's gone or what might have been.
The winding path he's walking feels like a metaphor for his life journey, accepting the end is near.
Right. It gently pushes you, the listener, to think about your own past, that mix of joy and regret we all carry.
It captures that reflective mood perfectly.
And Lux experiences these memories, these echoes, highlighting how much our past shapes our present sense of self.
Then Chapter 6. The Unborn Child. A totally different feeling potential.
Yes. Darkness and light felt rather than seen. Warmth. A woman holding her belly. It's all about what's coming.
You get that mix of emotions, joy, fear, hope, uncertainty, all tangled together.
And that faint fluttering heartbeat. Such a delicate detail, but it holds so much weight. It underscores the fragility, the preciousness of this new life.
The mother's thoughts aren't quite focused, just this general longing for the future.
It captures the whole emotional landscape of waiting for a new beginning. Anyone who's anticipated a child, or any big new beginning, really, might connect with that blend of excitement and anxiety.
Contemplating all the unknown possibilities.
And Lux is there, experiencing that raw potential. That anticipation before experience shapes it. It's like witnessing the very start of consciousness.
Wow. Okay, then a jarring shift to Chapter 7. The Soldier's Resolve. Chaos.
Absolute chaos. Noise, then silence after an explosion. Blurred movement, sensory overload. It's the reality of war.
And the focus is on the internal battle, right? Fear versus determination.
Exactly. Those fleeting memories of home contrasted with the brutal present. What's really striking is the portrayal of that primal survival instinct.
The pounding heart, the resolve that wavers but comes back, gripping the weapon tighter.
It really speaks to human resilience, that capacity to keep going even when facing something horrific. It makes you think about the strength people find in the absolute worst circumstances.
That drive to just survive the next moment.
And Lux experiences that raw drive, that intense internal fight. Fear and the will to live side by side.
Then, another deeply emotional chapter, Chapter 8, The Mother's Grief.
Yeah. This one is heavy. The atmosphere is almost suffocating. Quiet, but a loud kind of quiet, dim light. A body just slumped under the weight of it all.
It portrays grief as this all-consuming thing. The memories are vivid laughter that echoes, a touch you can't feel anymore, but they just highlight the absence.
And the physicality of it. The author describes it as a sharp, stabbing ache, like you can't breathe. It really conveys how loss can just crush you.
It's a powerful reminder of grief's impact, how long its shadow can be.
Absolutely. It speaks to that universal experience of loss in a really unflinching way.
And Lux is immersed in it, feeling the weight of that sorrow without the personal history. Just the raw essence of grief itself.
Which is a fascinating perspective. Okay, then Chapter 9, The Writer's Despair. A different kind of battle.
Yeah, the struggle of creative block. That dim light, the room may be cluttered with crumpled paper, maybe starkly empty. The pace.
You feel the writer's frustration, the anger mixed with this, like gnawing darkness. Words just out of reach. Echoes of past successes making the current failure feel worse.
Despair is this living thing, a shadow that suffocates. The fear of not being good enough. The silence of the blank page.
Anyone who's ever tried to create something, anything, will likely recognize that feeling. That self-doubt, feeling utterly stuck.
That wrestling match with your own inner critic when the ideas just dry up.
And Lux witnesses this intense internal conflict between the creative urge and the paralysis of despair.
Okay, Chapter 10, The Reunion. This one feels a bit more hopeful, maybe,
Mm-hmm.
but still tense.
Definitely tense. There's quiet, but it's full of unspoken words. The weight of the past is like a barrier between the people.
You get that push and pull anger, maybe, but also longing. Fear of saying the wrong thing or maybe not saying the right thing.
But the focus shifts to those small, fragile steps towards reconnecting. A softer voice, a hand reaching out tentatively. The tension starts to ease, just a little.
It explores how complicated family relationships can be, but also holds out the possibility of reconciliation, of rebuilding that bond.
It's that delicate process of bridging a gap, hoping for healing, but being scared more pain.
And Lux experiences this cautious movement back towards connection.
Chapter 11, the artist's vision. Back to creation, but maybe with a different energy than the writer's despair.
Yeah, more active struggle, perhaps. Dancing shadows in the studio, hands covered in paint or clay or whatever.
Yeah.
The focus is intense.
It highlights the physical effort, the dedication, aching muscles, the weight of ideas that aren't quite real yet. Trying to grab that elusive vision.
That constant fight between the moments of inspiration, the breakthroughs, and the frustration of the work still being incomplete. It's about perseverance.
Right. The sheer drive to translate something internal into something external, tangible. The challenges are part of it.
That push and pull between the spark and the hard work of making it real.
And Lux is there, witnessing the passion, the focus, the struggle that's just part of the artistic process.
Okay, now chapter 12, the cosmic memory. This feels like a huge shift in scale.
Oh, absolutely. Suddenly we're not in a room or a park, we're in. Well, it's vast. A void, maybe. Or light with no source. Timeless. Infinite possibility.
And there's this sense of a deep, familiar presence. Lux feels connected to something much, much bigger.
Yeah, it hints at Lux's origin, maybe, a sense of a former wholeness, a cosmic rhythm or pulse that it was once part of, but can't quite remember fully.
The scale is overwhelming, stars being born, galaxy spinning. It puts all the human moments into a different perspective.
It really does. It expands the whole scope of the book, makes you contemplate consciousness on a universal level. It's pretty mind-bending.
Thinking about our own place in all that vastness.
And Lux seems to be tapping into this ancient source, this underlying cosmic memory.
Then chapter 13, the final fragment. This feels significant, like a culmination.
It does. The atmosphere is described as quiet or calm, maybe after a storm, a space that feels both intimate and infinite at the same time. And the core is this overwhelming presence of love between two people.
It focuses on selfless love, doesn't it? Sacrifice.
Exactly. A hard choice made with certainty. Love overcoming fear and doubt, giving everything for someone else. It portrays love as this incredibly powerful, unifying force.
Something that can bridge any gap, bring things together, leading to a sense of peace, maybe? Completeness?
That's the feeling. Love, not just as an emotion, but as this fundamental power capable of profound selflessness.
The ultimate connector.
And Lux seems drawn to this act, perhaps finding a sense of purpose or completion within it. It feels like a turning point.
Which leads us to the end, chapters 14 and 15, the Reformation and the Ascension.
Right. And the feeling here is total wholeness. Light everywhere. Vast, infinite space, but now filled with this unified presence. Lux is reformed, forged anew by all those experiences.
So it transcends the limitations of being fragmented.
That's the idea. The memories are there, but the pain, the longing, it's gone. There's a connection to everything, a sense of becoming part of a larger cosmic order.
Finding its purpose, like becoming a guardian, a guide.
Something like that. Achieving peace, belonging. It's just that the journey through all those fragments, all that human experience, was necessary for this transformation. It offers a sense of hope, that wholeness can emerge from brokenness.
So all those scattered moments, the argument, the fear, the grief, the love, the despair, the creation, they all build towards this.
Exactly. Lux's journey is an arc of growth, culminating in this integration, this ascension.
Wow. Okay, so summing up our deep dive into the Fragments of Lux, it's this really unique story.
Definitely. Following this fragmented consciousness, Lux, through such a wide spectrum of human life, the mundane, the profound, the painful, the beautiful.
And seeing how that journey leads to its own kind of wholeness in the end, it really does make you look at our own experiences differently.
It does. It offers this fresh angle on universal emotions, on how interconnected our moments might be, even if they feel separate. It's a book that kind of lingers with you.
Yeah, it makes you wonder. What if our own consciousness is sort of like that? A collection of fragments, experiences, emotions, all piecing together our sense of self.
And how do those really intense moments, the peaks and valleys, shape who we become? The book offers one imaginative way to explore that.
It certainly does. A fascinating exploration.
Well worth reading, I'd say.
Absolutely. So, if this conversation has piqued your interest, we really do recommend checking out The Fragments of Lux. It's the first book in the Codex of Shadows series.
You might find it offers some really intriguing perspectives on what it means to be human.
Definitely a unique reading experience awaits. Well, thank you for joining us on this deep dive today.
Thanks for listening.